a country that seems to take care of the democracy of the whole world. But where it sees its benefit, it changes sides. A dictator who starts making others dance to its beats. In the history books, whoever dared to go against the states had to lose power. In a way, America is fighting against terrorism in the whole world. But there is a bitter truth somewhere, that in the world, America itself is responsible for creating a few terrorist groups, such as Al-Qaeda or ISIS. So let's know in this video the black truth of America, which has created upheaval in the whole world and pushed many countries into civil war. Hello friends, I am Manish Malik and you are watching MR Daily today. The real face of the USA started showing during the Second World War. To establish its hegemony, America dropped 2 nuclear bombs in Japan, which caused the painful death of 1,29,000 people in Hiroshima and 2,26,000 people in Nagasaki. In 1963, former US President David Eisenhower claimed that Japan could have surrendered without the use of the atomic bomb. This was confirmed by the then American Army General Douglas MacArthur, Brigadier General Carter Clark, as well as Major General Lee May, the American war strategist stationed in Japan and in charge of air operations. But the question arises that why did America have to do this? So the simple answer to this question is, America wanted to demonstrate its power. America wanted to show its enemy country that if you stand against me, the consequences will be bad. And America did same all over the world, whether by wearing the cloak of democracy to stop the imperialism of the USSR or establish their hegemony. An example of this can be understood from the direct and indirect American-sponsored war in many countries. It begins after the surrender of Japan in World War II. During the Korean War, Korea was divided into 2 camps. And after this, the story of supremacy begins. In this war that lasted from June 25, 1950 to July 27, 1953, the USSR was backing North Korea while the USA was backing South Korea. And in this battle of supremacy, about 5 million innocent people died. Even today, North Korea and South Korea are staunch enemies and neighbors in this power game. It is a bit difficult to blame in this war, but it is clear in Vietnam War that America is responsible for the death of millions of innocent people by keeping human rights on hold to maintain its hegemony. This war started in 1955 and lasted till 1975. Like Korea, in Vietnam too, Communist USSR was backing North Vietnam while South Vietnam was supported by America. Apart from Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia also came under its influence, which lasted for about 20 years. About 3 million Vietnamese, 3 lakh Cambodians, 60,000 Laotians, and 58,000 Americans lost their lives in this war. In Vietnam, America was directly fighting against the people of Vietnam on the soil of Vietnam. Although the purpose of this war of America is not known even today. In this war, the people of Vietnam fought strongly against the American army, and in the end, the Americans had to leave Vietnam and run away. Similarly, in Afghanistan, America made the Afghans speechless by putting them in worst to worst conditions. 4 crore helpless Afghans have been left dependent on terrorists like Taliban. Taliban have seen the city for the first time after the Americans left, so you can understand how they will run the country. America sowed such a seed of terrorism on the land of Afghanistan, which the whole world is still facing. Strengthen these Mujahideen groups by giving them military and financial support, while brainwashing them in the name of Islam with Pakistan's intelligence agency ISI, due to which these terror groups have become a threat to the world. Apart from the 9/11 attack in 2001, even today if there is any terrorist attack in the world, then these terrorists are involved somewhere or the other. Although America tried to eliminate these terrorists by running an operation in the name of Operation Enduring Freedom in 2001 on the soil of Afghanistan, but failed and in the end thought it better to hand over the power and get out. America spent $2.26 trillion in this war. During this, 2,448 American soldiers and 3,846 civilians died, while 1,72,000 Afghans died as well. Coming out of Afghanistan and moving towards the Gulf countries, America has destabilized the entire region by playing the game of power and greed, whose blaze is visible every day. America's violent love is visible in Iran, Iraq and Syria. Talking about Iran, till 1950, Iran was a vibrant democracy. Just as the prince is the formal head in Britain, similarly there was a Shah in Iran. In 1950, Iran's Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh thought of nationalizing his oil reserve for the country's interest. America and Britain were left confused, and a political democratic leader was thrown out and the Shah was made to sit as the leader. Here you can see the hypocrisy of America and Britain. What did the guardians of democracy do for their benefit? They thought to seize control of the British company, Anglo-Iranian Company, which was in possession of the oil reserve in Iran. They did not want the company to be snatched from their hands and handed over to the Iranian people. Therefore, in 1952, America's CIA and Britain's MI6 started Ajax, and they removed Mohammad Mossadegh from power and replaced Shah. And the name of the oil company was changed to British Petroleum, in which 80% of the shares were kept by America and Britain, and 20% of shares were given to Dutch and French companies. America remained Iran's partner as long as the Shah ruled, and kept helping in suppressing Shah's oppression. When got it done, they gave uranium-enriched weapons in 1959, when Ayatollah Khomeini, the religious supreme leader elected by the people of Iran, came under rule. America isolated Iran from the world by adopting the anti-Iran policy, leaving Iran and moving towards Iraq. America conducted a military operation in 2003 by making false allegations against the ruler of Iraq, Saddam Hussein. America alleged that Saddam Hussein had a stockpile of weapons of mass destruction, but it was America's excuse. The aim was to remove Saddam Hussein from the throne and control the oil reserve of Iraq, because 60% of the world's reserves are present only in Iraq. And finally, after hanging Saddam Hussein in 2006, America came out of Iraq in 2011, just like they did in Afghanistan. Struggling with lack of leadership, many groups arose inside Iraq, and one of them was ISIS. Iraq and Syria devolved into full civil war, whereas in 2014, the same America was fighting against ISIS in Syria. According to a figure, about 6 lakh people died in this war. But the question arises, who is responsible for these deaths? Apart from this, the USA tried to destabilize many countries by intervening in the military and economy, such as in Chile, Grenada, and Panama. Even if we talk about it today, America is somewhere responsible for the ongoing war in Ukraine. If America had not been determined to include Ukraine in NATO and had not tried to come closer to Russia, perhaps Russia would not have started the war at all. Many scholars accused America that the country left many such wars to consolidate power, which did not make any sense. All the wars waged by America only created havoc all over the world, and America did not get anything in return, because America never achieved the purpose for which they began the attack. The countries in which America waged war for power politics got completely disintegrated, and people's lives were ruined and were forced to wander from door to door. According to a survey, 3.5 crore people were forced to leave their homes in America's proxy war, whereas 1 million people died and 8.3 trillion was lost. Today, America is busy in the Indo-Pacific region. A new group is being formed. Today, America is coming closer to India. India was never even a part of America's foreign policy. And it is also true that whichever country remained a part of America's foreign policy, that country got destroyed, especially Islamic countries. So friends, tell us by commenting whether India should become a close ally of America, or should we strengthen the relations along with keeping in view our own interests.